Good morning, class 6. Welcome back to your biology classroom once again. Today I will discuss skeletal tissue. So look at your book. Skeletal tissue is a solid connective tissue. This tissue mainly provides support to the body of vertebrates. Vertebrates for what? Those who have possessed the vertebral column, I mean spinal cord, they are vertebrates. That's why which kind of tissue basically provides the support to the body? That is skeletal tissue. It forms the endoskeleton of vertebrates. Skeletal tissue is two types, cartilage and bone. Cartilage. It consists of a ground substance called matrix. So the ground substance liquidary part of cartilage, that is matrix, that contains cartilaginous cells, cartilage cells. This tissue is highly elastic and less hard than the bones. So cartilage basically less hard rather than bone. It helps in making the tissue flexible. It protects the bones from the shock. So cartilage actually protects the bone from the outer shock. It occurs in the windpipe. Windpipe से occur होने के बाद at the end of the bones of forelimbs and hind limbs तक cartilage basically stretched out रहता है. In the limbs, it reduces the friction between the bones when they move. In the hind limbs and forelimbs, when we stretched out or contraction of our bones, it actually reduces the friction between the bones. The tip of your nose and the external ear are made up of cartilage. So these two examples are very important. First of all, the tip of your nose and the external ear are made up of cartilage. Next, bone. It is a hard tissue, harder than cartilage. In this tissue, the ground substance or matrix is filled with cells called osteocytes and various inorganic compounds. These make the bone strong and hard. So the name of the bone cell, these are osteocytes and consist of various inorganic compounds which actually help to make the bones more strong and hard. The matrix is arranged in the form of concentric layers around a central canal. So look at the figure here. That is the central canal, and around them there are concentric layer. This canal is also known as Harvesian canal. A long bone has a hollow cavity filled with bone marrow, which is richly supplied with blood vessels. Red blood cells and white blood cells are formed in the bone marrow. So two types of blood cells basically form in the bone marrow. Bones support the body and help in the movement of body parts. Next, fluid connective tissue. This tissue is of two types, blood and lymph. Blood. It consists of straw-colored fluid matrix called plasma, in which three types of cells are present. They are erythrocytes or RBC, leukocytes or WBC, and the thrombocytes or platelets. Next, red blood cell or erythrocytes. These are the most abundant component of the blood. Abundant मतलब जिसका normally quantities ज़्यादा होता है. That is abundant, sufficient, enough. So these are the sufficient component of the blood. These carry oxygen and carbon dioxide to and from various parts of the body to the lungs. Red blood cells are produced in the bone marrow. Next, white blood cells or leukocytes. These provide the protection from the foreign bodies. Actually, white blood cells form the antibody against different types of foreign germs which actually enter inside our body. Blood platelets or thrombocytes. These help in the clotting of blood. Next, lymph. It can be called blood without the red blood cell. So except RBC, the liquidary part of blood, that is also known as lymph. It surrounds the body cell. It plays a very important role in the protecting body against infection. So as well as WBC, lymph also help to protect our body against infection. Next, difference between plant tissue and animal tissue. If you observe, you will find that there are many differences between plants and animals. They have different structures and perform a different functions. Therefore, plants and animals have a different types of tissues. So let's start the difference between plant tissue and animal tissue. So you will start the difference and you will learn only two. Plants are fixed, so they contain a supportive tissue that provide mechanical and structural strength, as well as in case of animal tissue. Basically, animals move around in search of food, shelter, and so on. That's why they have a large muscular and other tissue. So what is the difference between tissue? In case of plant tissue, they have only just supportive tissue, which actually provide their structural strength, as well as in case of animal, they have a long muscular tissue, which actually help to move them from here and there. Next, most of the plant tissues are dead on maturity. They do not need energy. So, same way, animal tissue are basically living tissue and they help them to move and utilize energy. And the last point is here, plants shows growth in the certain region throughout their life. So, the plant tissues are classified as basically meristematic and the permanent tissue on the basis of their living capacity. In case of animal cells, animals grow to an age after which the growth stops. Thus, there is no demarcation of the division and non-dividing region in animals. So, in case of plants, they have just two types of special tissue. They are meristematic tissue and permanent tissue. But in case of animals, their age basically stopped under a certain age. That's why there is no demarcation of dividing and non-dividing region of animal. So student, I hope all of you understood what I discussed in this video. So for today, up to this portion.